everyone, whether or not they admit it, knows the things they can do to become more physically attractive.
Hmm.
Okay. What are the things that we need to be doing as men to be more socially attractive to women? And what are the things women can be doing to be more socially attractive to men?
I think for men, ways you could be more attractive to women, and I'm not one of these. My guess is intelligence, humor, and being a good listener. Like, try that stuff. Like, if a woman senses a man's humorous, it typically is a signal of intelligence because he's able to play on words and see themes and just the way he views life. It's a kind of an indicator of intelligence, which for the woman psychologically, subconsciously is an indication that he would be a good provider. Now, granted, you can't just become funny. I'm not going to go read a bunch of joke books or whatever, but to be lighthearted, I think women are looking for a man of humor. It makes her life enjoyable because life can be kind of serious and heavy, and a guy who knows the right time to bring levity to a situation is a good thing. So, and then intellectually, like, read some books, like, take the time that you're spending, whether it's in the gym or in your commute to work, and just learn audiobooks, whether it's I want to learn wildlife photography, or I want to learn business, or I want to learn about the Civil War, like whatever it is, like just grow your intellectual base so you could talk about different things. I remember St. John Paul II, someone who knew him well, told me that, like, he was probably intellectually the most well-rounded person on earth. They said you could literally start a conversation with him about anything, and he could talk about it with you for like a half hour in a deep level of knowledge, whether it's an F-16 fighter jet or marine biology or the economic systems in the Middle East. Like, it was insane just because he
That's
was
awesome.
constantly having lunches with people who are experts in their particular fields of engineering or psychology or medicine or whatever. And he would sit and learn from these people, and he was just an absolute sponge. And so I would say, grow in an intellectual basis. Socially, if you feel a little bit awkward, lean into that in the sense of, like, I don't want to be around big crowds of people. Okay, go into big crowds of people. If you're like, well, I feel nervous around women, okay, go talk to twice as many women then. And talk to women, not necessarily who are the ones that you want to ask out, but talk to women who you don't want to ask out. Not to play games with them or lead them on, but just be like, okay, there isn't a lot of pressure in this conversation. If it doesn't go well, I don't need to be like emotionally devastated. My self-esteem is shot because that pretty woman just found me boring. Just start talking to them as friends. Get out of your comfort zone. It's not a place you need to live in or be. Work on that stuff. So yeah, I would say sense of humor, intelligence, that you're a good listener, you have a degree of empathy. I think if a guy's got that stuff, he becomes more attractive. Like, when we think I want to be attracted to my spouse, we always go physical. But, like, no, like, I remember being in college and meeting girls that, physically I wasn't as totally attracted to as another, but, like, her personality was so awesome. It's so fun to be around a human being like that. And it just makes them more attractive. And so let's look at attraction from a full human lens instead of simply the physical. And so that's what I think a guy can do to be more attractive: get intelligent, get smart, be a good listener. You want to throw anything else in there before I move to women, Josiah?
I want to say just like a piece of practical advice, because I
Yeah.
saw this on social media recently. Somebody said, "Is there a gym for training my attention span?" And somebody just replied, "It's called a library." But that kind of peaked in my mind. Like, we all know, like, we know
Yeah.
this as Catholics, especially because we have Thomas, who's baptized Aristotle and the virtue ethics for us. But anytime you're trying to grow in anything, like a gym like mindset where you do the hardest version of what you're trying to get better at, you can do right now.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, if your attention span is really slow, like, turn off your phone and read for as long as you can right now. If you have a
Yeah.
hard time talking to people, go talk to people, as many people as you can, for as long as you can right now. It's not like you
Yeah.
have to get to a normal level on your first attempt. It's training like you train in the gym.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you can't out train a bad diet. That's one of the things that one of the CrossFit athletes I know of had always said, that, like, for years he was training, but his diet was not like a 5-star what it should be for a premium level athlete. And once he changed that, his game went to the whole next level. And so if a library is the place that you go to improve, if it's the gym for your attention span, so if the library is the gym for the attention span, then social media is an absolute tub of lard that you're eating out of. Meaning you need to shut the stupid thing off. There's a great video that came out from that Harvard professor who talks a lot about living a happy life and boredom. What's that guy? Do you remember that guy's name? He's probably
I
in his
know what
late
you're
50s,
talking about,
early
and I'm
60s.
literally
Oh, I'm
trying to
just
think of it
blanking
because I
out on
want to
the.
put it in the description.
Yeah, I
Shoot.
know the guy's name. It's just blanking me for some reason. Go find the video that he just put out about 2-3 weeks ago on how important it is to be bored. And so if you just click, Harvard professor bored, YouTube, it'll come up with this 5-minute video, and it's so well done. It's got like millions of views
Is
in the
it
last couple of weeks.
Arthur Brooks?
Arthur Brooks, there you go. That's it. So go
Okay.
Arthur Brooks, like why it's important to be bored. Watch that. It's so good. He talks about the phone has basically removed our ability to be bored. Meaning when you get to the crosswalk and you got to cross, or you get to a stoplight, it's the phone. It's input, 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 input. Yeah, the place that's activated in your brain when you stop and there's nothing to do, we don't want to go there. Like we don't want to go to that spot of asking life's meaningful questions, of pondering, of that place of creativity. But he said, no, next time you work out, don't bring the phone. It'll be the most productive workout imaginable in terms of intellectually. Likewise, get rid of that. Put your stupid phone in a cabinet. Only use social media when it's extremely intentional, meaning I'm going to spend 5 minutes posting this or that. Otherwise, you can just the AI algorithm that's behind that is trained to capture your brain and feed it these short little bursts of dopamine that you didn't earn. It's all this unearned dopamine, and then when it's over, you just crash and you're just like, I need a hit, I need a hit, I need a hit. I've talked to so many people just in the last couple of weeks, teachers, youth ministers, they're like, I can't believe the attention span of the kids over the last 3, 4, 5 years since COVID. Like it's gone. Like they're like in the classroom, I can't keep their attention for 5 minutes. They're so fidgety. They've literally fried the part of their brain that is their attention span. And so I would say, yeah, just as a library as the gym, and get your face out of that tub of lard, which is just all this fat of your attention span, which is the phone, which is social media. It'll bother you when you put it away, how much you reach for it in its absence of just like, okay, I'm not doing something right now. I would normally do my phone, but it's physically not on me. I feel agitated. Okay, I need to enter into that agitation and I need to become at peace with it. And I need to learn, okay, what am I going to do now that I'm bored? Oh, I'm going to think about that goal I had. I'm going to ask some meaningful questions in life. Go to that place. And so grow your intellectual attention span by shutting down the phone, reading some decent books. Should we pivot now to that girls be more attractive?
I think that's a good idea, just like socially stuff. Because like I said, everybody, both genders, whether or not they admit it, we know everybody knows we'll keep to be more physically attractive.
Yeah.
So socially, what do you think?
Yeah, so socially attractive. I've heard it said that women tend to bond kind of face to face. We're sitting at a coffee restaurant talking. Men tend to bond kind of shoulder to shoulder. We're hiking through the woods or doing whatever. And so what I think a woman can glean from that is be willing to bond with the man in the way that he bonds. If it's activity, like let's go do this thing together. Let's go do that activity together. Guys really feel connected. At least I do. When a woman I care about is wanting to do something with me that's physically, engaging. We're going on a hike. We're going to go do this thing. We're going to go do that thing. I don't know. I just feel so much closer to her that even if it's not something that I'm great at or she's great at, we're learning together. And so go do stuff with a guy. Be willing to get out of your comfort zone in that regard in terms of social activities and doing physical stuff. To me, that's a big one for the women. I think guys would also like to find a girl who has control of her emotions, that she's not living a roller coaster emotional soap opera. And yeah, life has its ups and downs, absolutely. But do you have mastery over your emotions? Is it just constantly just this massive highs and massive lows? Do you have a level of mastery there that you've worked on, of emotional maturity? I think guys find that attractive. That she's fun, that she can hold a conversation, that she's a prayerful woman, that she's a person of virtue. If she's got a sense of humor, awesome bonus points. It just makes you enjoy their company and want to be in their company longer. And so, yeah, for a woman who may be thinking, but look, I'm not Miss Universe. Yeah, physically what stuff you can do, but I mean, there's a threshold how physically attractive I could be. I mean, can I go tan or can I go take this supplement or whatever? I mean, there's a ceiling as to, I'm not going to be Mr. Universe, Brad Pitt, whatever. George Clooney, like, okay, I can live with that. But I'm just going to stay healthy. I'm going to stay in shape. But then there's all this other stuff that there really is no ceiling in terms of how attractive you can become as a human person. So I'd say work on that stuff. Josiah, any other thoughts that you would say for
I just want to stress
single women?
hobby one. You were talking about doing things with people, but I want to add another layer to that. That like, I'm not saying like you need to have like a hobby that you're doing every day, but
Yeah.
like some interests besides I go out with my friends,
Yeah.
because let's just be really honest and frank about this. Men and women are different enough that you going out with your friends and that like being a social life as part of that is not going to interest a guy, and that's not wrong of him.
Yeah. Yeah. You just
Um,
become more interesting when you have an interesting life, that you have hobbies that
yeah,
they could enter into instead of it's all you're just going doing with the guy. Yeah. Like get a hobby, learn an instrument, find something that invigorates you as a human being that you can strive for perfection and excellence in. To me, it's as exciting. Like I remember when I was in college, I dated one young woman and she was a mezzo soprano singer. And it was just cool to go to the concerts and just hear all the work that she had put into that particular talent. My son is, dating a young girl who's a collegiate athlete right now, and how much he enjoys being able to go to the games and root for her and cheer for her. And so I think it's just super important that we have hobbies, that we have interests, and it doesn't have to be the same as yours are. Just pursue that, and I think that'll make you a more attractive person as well.
and one I want to add, try to not be super school marmy, and I don't mean like be okay with your boyfriend or a potential guy being like crass or whatever, but like be okay with him being a guy,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
male bonding involves more. Look, we're mean to each other as a form of affection a lot. Let's just, like, or like and we do more weird things, and we have like weird stuff that we do. And it's really unattractive to guys when you make it a point to say that you don't approve of the way that they bond with their male friends.
Oh
So
yeah.
just try to avoid that.
Yeah, the other day we were in our bedroom. We got this big king size bed, and our three little boys came in and just started this full on WWE Nacho Libre throwdown jiu-jitsu wrestling match on there. 5-year-old, 8-year-old, and 10-year-old were just going at it. And Chris and I were just sitting there trying to have a rational discussion about something. And the kids are screaming and jumping off the headboard, tackling. And Crystal's like, stop. You guys need to stop. And I'm like, no, Crystal, just trust me. Let them be feral. Let them do this thing. It is so good for their intellectual stimulation, for their bonding, and for their capacity to fall asleep, an hour from now. Just let them go at it. And the kids literally just went at it, and there were tears, and they were crying. And 3 minutes, seconds later, they're back at it and fighting. And by the time they were done, they're all like, red and puffy and, and panting and sweating, and their hair's all messed up. But they, Crystal's like, that was crazy. And at one point she's like, I can't take this anymore. I just need to get up and go do a different movie. Like, this is insane. And I just sat there and watched it. It was just hilarious to watch. And they don't need to bond the same way that females bond. And that's good. And so as long as your guy is with guys who bring out the best in him, let him have at it. Obviously, if he's with a circle of guys who are living a life of absolute vice, pay real close attention to that, because, show me your friends and I'm going to show you your future. If a guy is surrounded by godly men, he will become more godly. If he's surrounded by godless men, then he's going to have a much difficult ascent on the path of virtue. And so I think we had talked about this last week when we talked about guys should pay attention to the friends of the prospective girlfriend that they're looking. If she's hanging out with a bunch of godless women, then Josiah, you pointed out, well, then it's going to be to those women that she goes to for relationship advice with you. And, when you're at odds in a relationship, Matt, Fred, and I, Crystal, Matt, and I did a show on Pints with Aquinas a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. That's going to air this Wednesday night. And one of the things that Matt said is that in a marriage relationship, you should, as the man, talk to a guy, if you've got issues with your wife, that is going to typically take your wife's side in an argument, instead of the guy who's just going to tell you whatever you want to hear. Find a guy who's got enough common sense to say there's probably two sides of the story and can give you some healthy pushback. And so if you want to hear that discussion, Crystal and I sat down with Matt Frad for 3.5 hours to discuss marriage and all the challenges that we've had in that and all the healing that we've discovered and the ups and the downs. So you can go to Pints with Aquinas and watch that show. Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, I'd encourage you to please like, subscribe, share, comment. That helps show it to more people. And then also submit your question at the email live@chastity.com, or submit your question or call in through our Discord server so we can talk to you in person on our next show.